Macmillan Audio presents Almost Midnight by Paul Doiron. Read for you by Henry Leyva. Part 1. A Civil Death. Chapter 1. I passed the morgue's meat wagon on my way up the hill to the prison. Another inmate overdose, I figured. Maybe a suicide. If it had been a homicide, I would have heard about it. Natural causes were always a possibility. So many prisoners, especially those condemned to life behind bars, seemed to give up the ghost prematurely, dying being their only real chance at escape. I wondered if the corpse belonged to one of the men I'd arrested. The sun had broken through the clouds, but the American and the Maine state flags hung damp and dripping from a steel pole before the complex of whitewashed buildings. The architect had done a good job disguising the essentially retributive nature of the penitentiary. From the parking lot, you could barely see the 3 sets of razor wire fences or the guard towers with riflemen in them, watching the distant tree line. At night it was different. The misty glow of the Klieg lights radiated so high into the sky, it illuminated the bellies of the clouds. I locked my service weapon and automatic knife in the steel box I kept under the seat of my personal vehicle, an International Harvester Scout. Then I made my way across the lot to the gleaming facade, still wet with rain. "My name is Mike Bowditch," I told the guard behind the desk, showing him my badge and identification card. "I'm an investigator with the Maine Warden Service. I should be on your list." The correctional officer, or CO, was a paunchy, pouch-eyed man I didn't recognize, and whose name tag was obscured by a non-regulation fleece vest. Over the past 4 years, most of the guards I'd gotten to know had quit or been fired. Prisons never make those best places to work lists. He half rose from his chair to appraise my outfit. Waxed cotton jacket, thermal tee, damp jeans, and muddy bean boots. "You been working undercover?" he asked. "More like underwater." "Huh? I've just come from fishing." "Catch anything?" he asked with utter disinterest. "Some decent-sized salmon. What happened to C.O. Tolman?" "Never heard of him." He squinted through a pair of thumb-printed reading glasses at his computer. "You're here to see inmate Kronk?" "That's right. You need to leave keys, coat, spare change in one of those lockers, anything that might set off the detectors or conceal contraband." He slid a pamphlet at me. "Here's a list of prohibited items." I have it memorized. Look, I drove 4 hours from Grand Lake Stream to get here before visiting time was over. That's 15 minutes from now, if I'm not mistaken. The guard put down his readers and studied my wind-burned face. The lobby of the Maine State Prison was this man's personal fiefdom. He didn't know me. He could have made me wait. "Is this visit business or personal?" "A bit of both." He hadn't anticipated that answer, or maybe he didn't care one way or another. He waved me through with the back of his hand. The 2 guards manning the body scanners had high and tight haircuts and muscles you only get from pushing and pulling barbells. Like the CO at the desk, they wore midnight blue uniforms with gold badges pinned to their shirts and portable radios fastened at the top buttons. "How you doing today, Warden?" the lighter-skinned of the 2 asked. He was one of those pale-eyed, white-haired, pinkish people who'd missed being born an albino by a flip of the genetic coin. According to the tag on his chest, his name was Peg. "How am I doing? That depends if you let me out of here at the end of my visit." "I hear that, bro. I ain't even claustrophobic, but sometimes this place makes me feel like I'm in a trash compactor. And I got a motherfucking key." Peg was so white he was translucent, yet he talked as if he'd come straight out of Compton. I sensed he must be a recent hire since he still had a gloss on him that hadn't been worn off or fouled by the existential filth of his workplace.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?